Tonight, NDC writes to Speaker of Parliament vehemently opposing attempts by the majority to recall the House to consider a raft of what they describe as urgent government business. We have details as the NDC insists they will only welcome a recall of the House after the December 2024 election.
We will not be coming to Parliament. What is critical? What is the critical thing they are talking about? Is it the approval of the two justices of the Supreme Court, or is it the tax waiver we are talking about? Is it the law? What is critical about those things?
We have all the angles covered here. We'll be speaking to people who matter when it comes to the parliamentary business here on Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Well, tonight, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagby is being urged to reject a request by the majority in Parliament to recall the House to consider what they consider urgent government business. Now, you will recall that Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin sent a request to the Speaker last week, Friday, requesting that the House reconvened to sit on Thursday and Friday this week to deal with a number of outstanding government business. The Speaker has not responded as of yet to this particular request. But if the House is recalled, that will be the fourth emergency recall of Parliament in 2024 alone. The NDC, on the other hand, say they are vehemently opposed to the request, citing a myriad of reasons. I have Kweku Asante, who is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, joining me in studio with details of this. Kweku, we will get into the NDC opposition shortly, but first, take us back. What is the majority's request?
So on Friday, the 22nd of November, Alexander Afenyo-Markin did write this memo to the Speaker of Parliament, and it was addressed to him on the request to recall Parliament to consider outstanding public business. He said, Right Honourable Speaker, the SIC meeting of the fourth session, which was scheduled to take place on the 7th November, adjourned without any consideration of government business. Mr. Speaker may recall that there were a number of urgent government business that had been advertised and scheduled to be carried out prior to the adjournment of the House. These included requests for tax exemptions, the Ghana Financial Stability Fund loan, consideration of the President's nomination for appointment as Justices of the Supreme Court, ratification of a bauxite mining lease, a lithium mining lease, a number of bills. The memo continued that, Mr. Speaker, I submit that reconvening Parliament at this juncture would send a powerful message of national unity and institutional stability. It would also demonstrate that even as we approach the peak of the campaign season, even as we approach the peak of the electoral season, Parliament remains steadfast in its constitutional duties and committed to advancing the national interest through bipartisan consideration. In view of this, I crave your indulgence to consider exercising your mandate under Orders 57.3 and 58.4 to recall the House to consider the outstanding government business. He goes on to quote the specific clause and says, respectfully, if the above request finds favor with you, I propose that you consider Thursday 28 November and Friday 29 November as the scheduled dates for this emergency recall. It is my view that once done, members can go back to their constituencies over the weekend to continue with their campaign towards the December 7th general election. So this is the letter that did go from Alexander Afenyo-Markin, and markedly different from the previous request that we had seen. It did not trigger Article 1123 of the Constitution, which would have sought to compel the Speaker to do so. It just applied to the Speaker to, on his own volition, based on his discretion, recall Parliament.
Interesting. But the NDC is raising an opposition to this.
Yes.
They first raised legal issues with what's happening. What's their stance?
Yes, the NDC caucus have also sent their own memo to the Right Honourable Speaker Alban Bagby. It says, the NDC, they call themselves the majority in this, it says, the NDC caucus in Parliament has taken notice of a request to you, Right Honourable Speaker, praying you to recall Parliament to consider so-called outstanding public business. We note further that the petitioner has not satisfied the threshold and requirement under Article 1123 of the Constitution and Order 53.1 of the Standing Orders, which requires signatures of 15% of members of Parliament to trigger a recall of the House. And so they say that because this request has not been triggered on the basis of Article 1123. It is simply applying to the Speaker's discretion and he must not heed to it. It says, Right Honourable Speaker, the petitioner's request is premised on an appeal to you to exercise your discretion to recall Parliament to consider what they have termed high priority government business. They proceed to enumerate the said business, Brace.
Interesting. Now, the NDC then provides further reasons, especially regarding the impending election, on why they are opposed to this particular recall.
Yes, according to Dr. Cassiel Atoforsen, they wish to submit that based on Alexander Afenyomakin's own request, the Speaker is not obliged to recall Parliament, and that the petitioner has not demonstrated that there is any emergency nor urgent government business to warrant a recall of Parliament with barely 11 remaining days to the crucial 2024 election. It continues that having had a distinguished parliamentary career spanning over 3 decades, Mr. Speaker, you are very familiar with the demands and rigors of parliamentary elections. As we speak, MPs from both sides are in their constituencies having critical engagements with the electorate ahead of the December 7 election. This election is not only a destiny-defining election for Ghana, but a career-defining one for many of members of Parliament. Mr. Right Honourable Speaker, the petitioner has proposed Thursday 28 and Friday 29 November as the dates for his ill-fated and ill-timed recall. Should this request be granted, not only will MPs be required to truncate these important engagements with the electorate, but MPs will have to contend with logistical and other challenges to commute over long distances to reach Accra. This proposed 2-day sitting, if acceded to, will mean MPs will have less than 1 week to conclude their campaigns, train their polling agents, and make key logistical and other election day arrangements. This will disadvantage many MPs, and such a situation is most unfair. Mr. Speaker will recall that this is the 4th time in 2024 alone that the MPP caucus is requesting an urgent recall of the House. During a similar recall as recent as Thursday 7 November, the NPP caucus, which requested the recall, abandoned parliamentary chamber and failed to show up. They go on to say that, in view of the foregoing, it is our considered position that there is no urgent government business currently before the House to transact, and Parliament can therefore reconvene immediately after the December election and come and do business. The current Parliament continues until the midnight of 6th December, and in less than 2 weeks, Ghanaian will be going to the poll. So Dr. Keselato Forson suggesting that the only recall that the NDC will support is a recall after the December 7 election.
Interesting. But just before we came into the studio, we've been reading that a lawyer to the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Sore, has also been commenting on this particular development. What has he been saying?
He has been putting out a rather lengthy and very intriguing post on his Facebook, and it's titled "Of Bat Wisdom and Crybabies." Let me just read the introduction and summarize the other part. It says that there is this lizard that purports to urinate into the sky, thinking that person is urinating onto God, but the urine returns to him because of gravity and all that. He goes on to say that certain persons who he describes as crybabies have sought to push the Speaker of Parliament to take certain decisions in court. Let me quote. It says, the Speaker is hauled to the most exalted court of the land, the Supreme Court. The effect of the court's action definitely disrupted Parliament's sitting, and Parliament has not been able to recover from it. After chalking a momentous victory against the Speaker of Parliament, accompanied by initial threats of treason among others, the Speaker refuses to obey the court's judgment. The judgment has not even been entered, and it has not been served on the Speaker to enable him obey this judgment. Now, there is a subtle appeal that the Speaker should use his own discretion to recall Parliament. Now, the victor, that is Afenyomakin, does not intend to use Supreme Court power to compel the Speaker to do what the victor wanted the Supreme Court to compel the Speaker to do. Now, there is urgent business to be conducted in Parliament. The specific business considered urgent is not demonstrated. No direct urgent government business is mentioned. The Speaker is now seen, I may now say with a smile, respected as the final authority to decide matters relating to Parliament. It goes on and say that recall as it is now, if the Speaker of Parliament is to recall Parliament, it may be at a disadvantage to persons because of the requirement on the Speaker to be it. Let me quote that for you. It says that not satisfied because it is clear that this cry for sanctions have not been heeded, and it goes on to refer to the Attorney General when it comes to this matter. It says Sisyphus conveniently forgets and is oblivious that when Parliament adjourned twice, it was because his own members denied Parliament of a decisional quorum.
Okay.
Sisyphus, like crybaby, requests for a recall without any regard whatsoever for the interest and convenience of many other MPs who at the moment are definitely out from Accra and doing important business.
So comparing the AG to Sisyphus, there would later tell you more about Sisyphus. But we have to take you back because this letter from the NDC caucus to the Speaker follows a particular warning from the NDC party to its MPs to stay away from the House should there be a recall. Listen to the national chairman of the party, Johnson Asedu Nkatia, speak in the Western region about a week ago.
Now, Musa Kwaya, recall Bia, a man is the MP by Kopra, and see what
if the MPP initiates another parliamentary recall, no NDC MP will honor it. No business before Parliament can be described as emergency.
Emergency yes, Parliament, now I'm going to continue dream dear. One more dear and
Clearly, the MPP wants to pursue a corrupt agenda, and they appear not to be satisfied with the corruption they have pursued in the last 8 years. They want to use the last few weeks left to undertake corrupt activities.
Now, Mensah, 1% of the trust, now I'm moving to the young man, I don't see.
And so the judges can say whatever they want, but we will use parliamentary laws to do business. If Parliament is undermined, democracy will cease to exist.
Democracy. We need Parliament to free her and democracy behind the
Let's go on to the phone lines now and speak to Habib Idrisu. He is first Deputy Majority Chief Whip and he's Member of Parliament for Tolong as well. Grateful to you for joining us here. Now, the NDC caucus raised some very cogent argument to oppose the request by your leader for the Speaker to recall the House. Your reaction?
What are some of the cogent arguments you said they have raised? Because reading through the memo, it is completely out of place. It indicates that they don't understand the recall that the majority seeks to have for. So I don't get it, because if you listen to the minority to forcing, you could clearly see that he wanted to bring controversy, still defining himself as the majority caucus. Who made them majority when there is a Supreme Court ruling? And he's quoting Article 1123 of the Constitution. We didn't recall Parliament based on Article 112 of the Constitution. So for you to say that we did not meet the requirement under Article 112, it is better he go back to read our memo and the orders that we seek to invoke the Speaker's jurisdiction to reconvene Parliament.
All right. But I mean, their point 10 says they are referring the Speaker to what happened on Thursday, 7th November 2024, when you got Parliament to be recalled, but you failed to turn up. And they are saying that because of that, the Speaker cannot continue recalling the House when you don't avail yourself to attend to these very important government business you cite in your letters to the Speaker.
But when you actually look at what happened on that said date, it is not the case that the majority did not turn up. It was the case that the minority, the NDC, had a game plan to be able to bring chaos and bring confusion into Parliament. We were not going to be party to that, and we had indicated that. That day we had a caucus meeting in the morning. The deputy clerk notified Jetro. I informed him personally that we were in a caucus meeting, and when the speaker is going in, then he should let us know. For the first, if you are following Parliament, you realize that before the speaker goes into the chamber, he had meeting with the of Parliament. That day, it never happened. He would just walk straight into the chamber without having any meeting. We were waiting for the speaker to invite us. And the reason for the recall, it is not based on the fact that speaker called and we couldn't come. There's no precedent to the effect that majority have called or reconvened Parliament, appealing to or telling the speaker to reconvene Parliament. There's a counter memo to say that Parliament should not be recalled. Who is the head of government business, and is the business for them? If government have business to be done, is the majority leader who is the head of government business. And if he so thinks that there is agency of government business to be done, so to be it. It is not left to the minority to determine whether there is a serious government business or not. They have that tendency of trying to disrupt Parliament. They have the tendency of trying to bring confusion. They have the tendency of disrespecting the rule of law in Ghana. When you read through their memo clearly, it is an indication that they don't understand the parliamentary proceedings. It's an indication that they disrespect the decision of the Supreme Court by still referring themselves as the majority caucus.
Well, but with 11 days to the elections, why can't these businesses wait? Because they are proposing that the House can be reconvened right after the election. Why can't these businesses wait till then?
But that's what I already indicated, to the effect that government business is run by the leader of government business, and that is the majority leader, one of our Fenyo Markins. But appropriation on account is very crucial. The NDC, are they telling us that we should not pay any salaries to workers in December, being a month of...
That's quite unfortunate there, but we'll still try and bring back Habibi Drisu, because there are still more angles to this that we need to address. But we have Dr. Rashid Rahman, who is Executive Director for Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, on the line. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, we are in a state where probably we need to find a way to get Parliament to reconcile. This conflict has still not been resolved. What do you make of the two caucuses, and their positions taken by the respective parties?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Sorry, the line dropped, so I missed out.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Just at the beginning of the... Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I was saying that at the beginning of this crisis, some of us warned that if care was not taken, we are going to see one legal argument after another, and that would just completely immobilize Parliament. That is what we are seeing play out at the moment, because, like we said previously, this is a political conflict, and there was the hope that, some political tools of negotiation, of compromise, and so on would have been used. Because if you read the memo from the majority leader to the Right Honorable Speaker, in fact, it was
elections, can't it? Hello, Habib Idrisu.
I think that was what Dr. Rashid was saying. If you look at our memo, what we seek to do was to give the discretion to the speaker and not the majority. They are not invited. We did not trigger any constitutional provisions because the memo that we have sent to the speaker was discretionary. Because if you look at our standing orders in order 58 and 57, the speaker have that discretion to be able to reconvene parliament. But if you look at the tangent that the minority is going, rather than seeking to reconcile and build consensus for us to reconvene parliament, they are rather going a tangent of confusion, bringing problems, further problems.
Habib, they cite
Article 1123, but we actually give the discretion to the speaker to reconvene. So my simple response to what you are trying to say is that it's not left to Arthur Forson, the minority leader, to determine what is priority on government agenda of the leader of government business.
But I mean, they cite the times we are in, that some of you are in your constituencies trying to retain your seat, and know the sort of positions that you have. If you recall the House now that you should come and sit on Thursday and Friday, they are looking at the logistical challenges and all of that they will go through. Can this business wait, and then after elections, you still have some more time till January 6th, 2025, for you to handle these important business that you refer them to?
So is it the case that if we sit on Thursday and Friday, members are going to lose their seat for sacrificing 2 days? Remember, it is our duty. We were elected to be in the House until the 6th of January. And for that matter, when we are called upon as members of Parliament to attend to the agency of the House, we ought to do that irrespective of what actually it is. So I don't think that it is something that's, and I'm even happy that the majority leader in our memo, we have indicated when we want the business to be done. 2 days. Members can be able to plan ahead. We have serious government business that we need to take. Mind you that the lifespan of this parliament is short. We have a lot of holidays in December and a lot of things to happen. So for that matter, it was prudent for us to be able to do a lot of things, especially the appropriation on account. It is important that we get this thing done. And I think that the memo by the minority is rather unfortunate, and I think the speaker should not entertain it in any way.
Habib, I'm grateful you for joining us here. Dr. Rashid Rahman, so where do you stand on when the House must be recalled, given the period we find ourselves?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult because, I mean, on the one hand, I mean, they are very deep in campaign, but on the other hand, as Honorable Habib has said, I mean, this parliament exists until midnight, January 6th. So members of parliament have a responsibility. There is no way in our constitution that says that, you know, during campaign you shouldn't come to parliament. However, this has become very difficult because of the legal battles that are being fought. Otherwise, in normal times, I believe that they would have been able to work out some compromise and come and do this business and go away. So back again to the issue. Let members of parliament be careful when they invite the court into their space.
I'm grateful to you, Dr. Rashid Rahman, for speaking to us here. He is Executive Director for Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Earlier, you had Habib Idrisu, who's First Deputy Majority Chief Whip. My name is Samuel Brace. Thanks to Telecel, Connecting Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray. Coil, enjoy a holy sleep. Up next is Newsnight.
Kind of way, Telecel, the more money promo now,
Everybody likes money, but what do we like more than money? More money! Join the Telecel More Money promo and win money, more money, and even more money. Simply opt in for free and reload your mobile and broadband and be the lucky winner of the 1 million Ghana cedis grand prize. Also win cash prizes of up to 3 million Ghana cedis in the daily and weekly draws. Opt in for free by dialing *500# or send WIN to 500, or you can opt in on the Telecel Play app. The more you reload, the higher chances of winning in the Telecel More Money promo. Keep loading, win, and be a millionaire.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
Terms and conditions apply. This promo is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me down my dark with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. OBRNTA. Amanfo. Madam was Sibibri. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
What program?
Young lady, why are you standing here looking so disappointed?
I'm a university graduate. I've been searching for a job for over 4 years, but all my efforts have been in vain.
Don't worry, I have good news for you. Alan Chematin is guaranteeing 3 million jobs for the youth of Ghana. All you need to do is upload your CV on the 3MJ platform.
To register, first, upload your CV. Second, enter your personal details. Third, select your area of interest. That's all.
Thank you, Alan. You've changed my life.
Then remember to vote Asieho for Alan on December 7th.
AKA the one who has all the filler in Ghana.
AKA Yesi.
That is me.
Where are you going with all these gadgets in your shopping basket?
I'm preparing myself for the upcoming elections. My eyes wide, Papa. After I vote, I'll be using the binoculars to see what is happening during the counting. Touchlight when it is late. And in case they put the lights out, I even have my bobo. Some of us refuse to sit by and watch the EC people change the figures in favor of any candidate.
And you think that can happen?
Mr. EC, you again? Are you following me or what?
Following you? No, I'm just doing my job to make sure that the accurate information is being shared with the public. Now listen, elections are won or lost at the polling stations and not at the EC offices.
Tell him!
At the beginning of voting, an empty transparent ballot box is shown to all stakeholders and voters. Party agents, observer groups, and the media monitor the process of voting. And at the close of voting, the counting is done in full view of all party agents, observer groups, the media, and the general public. The presiding officer wears a white glove to do the counting, and when it is finished, the results are entered on a carbonized pink sheet. The pink sheet is signed by all party agents, and the results are announced by the presiding officer. A copy of the signed pin sheet is given to the party agents, and a copy is also posted on the walls of the polling station for all to see.
So it is a lie if someone tells you that the Electoral Commission can change the results. Elections are won or lost at the polling station, so party agents should check before they sign. As the chairperson in the case of the presidential election will only declare what is brought before her.
Transparency.
This is part of the process towards conducting a free, fair, and transparent election by the Electoral Commission.
Aha! Now we know the truth. We won't fall for the lights anymore. Yes. AKA Jimmy Braggart. You must trust the process.
Electoral Commission of Ghana. Transparency and accountability in motion.
11 days to the 2024 polls. Hashtag Stop Galamsey now still on. Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight, the NPP I know and love is not on the ballot paper. Words of a former NPP presidential aspirant and minister as he casts a damning verdict on the current state of the NPP and its leadership.
My real party is not on the ballot sheet. The NPP is fragmented, decimated, disunited. There's no cohesion, and I really don't feel that I'm part of it.
We have more as Dr. Kwabena Frimpong Boateng questions Dr. Bawumia's emotional attachment to the party and critiques his economic performance over the past 7.5 years. We have details of that interview on the polls. Also, Chairman of the NPP's Council of Elders, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, dissents heavily on Alan Kyerematen, labeling his comments about former President Kufuor's support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as disrespectful.
You see, for me, it's the height of impunity. You ask, what has Bawumia done? Why you are supporting him? Well, because you heard him read this, and it was rude.
We have details as he takes on the opposition NDC's combative stance against the Electoral Commission and the electoral process.
The posture of the major opposition party, for me, it's all right. Believe me, if you bring Jesus Christ from heavens to come and become the Electoral Commissioner, they will still complain.
We have details of that and also stay a while longer on the campaign trail. Also tonight, asthma cases among children between 12 and 14 tripled since 2004, with researchers partially linking the surge to rapid urbanization and high pollution levels in schools.
16% of them that we screened in Kumasi actually reported asthma symptoms. That's massive.
We have details of the Joy News Dialogue in Business.
Sonia Soglipa charges the City Company of Ghana to stick to new terms for settling more than $200 million debt.
And in sports, Black Stars head coach Otuado set to meet with the GFA Executive Committee tomorrow after AFCON failure.
And are you a first-time voter? Then you can't miss the mock voting exercise to be hosted by your election headquarters as part of our very final episode of your favorite show, Just Turned 18 with Shola Adeyemi. It will be live from the University of Ghana campus. You want to stay for details of that and more here on Newsnight. I am Emefa. Apawu, please do join us with your thoughts. Your comments is via WhatsApp is 055-1111-997. We're live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi on myjoyonline.com, X Spaces and Facebook. Please do stay for details. And we start off tonight from the election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA), and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxy Paint, Paints Mu Champion.
And tonight, a staunch member of the New Patriotic Party, in fact, a one-time presidential aspirant and former Minister of Environment, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, has been speaking and has strongly criticized the current state of the NPP, describing it as disunited and fragmented, far removed from the party he once knew. According to Professor Frimpong Boateng, he no longer feels a connection to the NPP, especially after 4 party members named in his report for violating environmental laws took legal action against him. He further emphasized that the NPP he was once proud to be part of upheld the principles of the rule of law and separation of powers, values he believes are no longer reflected in the current leadership. Professor Frimpong Boateng spoke in an exclusive interview with Super Morning Show host Kojo Yankson.
Party is not on the ballot sheet. The NPP is fragmented, decimated, disunited. There's no cohesion, and I really don't feel that I'm part of it because this is a party I love. I have emotional attachment to it from the days of my grandfather, and we've gone through a lot of things, and I've done a lot for this country. There you are asked to present a report to fight environmental terrorism, and 4 members of my party have taken me to court for mentioning their names in that report. So we really don't know what I have in common with those people and many others who insulted me and did all sorts of things against me. That is why I say that, yes, elections are coming, but my real party is not on the ballot sheet. The NPP identify what is a party that believes in the rule of law, believes in good governance, believes in the separation of powers, believes that the party does not belong to anyone. NPP is a party that doesn't belong to anyone. We love each other, we respect our elders, and it's not a party where people who are not voted for or have no business in the party get powers and they disrespect people who have worked hard and so on. This is not the NPP that I know. This is the NPP that I love. NPP that cares for the people, cares for the last, the least, and the lost. NPP that thinks about the future of the generations to come, our children, our grandchildren, and their children's children. It should be a party that gives hope to people. But these days, you meet young people and they don't see their future in this country. And certain things, as I keep on saying, good institutions are difficult to build, easy to destroy, and impossible to restore. Then the issue of corruption, is something that worries me. This is not the NPP that President Kufuor left us.
Well, that's not all. He's also questioned the emotional attachment of the party's flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to the party, revealing that many party stalwarts, including former President Jacob Kufuor, had objected to Dr. Bawumia's selection as running mate candidate Akufo-Addo. According to Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. Bawumia, who has been hailed as an economic wizkid, has failed to meet the economic expectations of many.
Dr. Bawumia is a very nice person, but I don't see him as a person who has emotional attachment to the NPP. I'm saying this because before he was elected to partner Nana Akufo-Addo about 16 years ago, he wasn't even a member of this party. But a lot of people did not agree with that choice, including President Kufuor. But it was accepted because he was portrayed as an economic wizkid, economic guru who was going to help us.
What did you think of the choice at the time?
Well, I didn't mind, if a person is good and he can help the nation, why not? But those expectations have not proved true. So that is where I have my problems. And then when it came to choosing a successor to Nana Akufo-Addo, the party and the government did a few things to the delegates. Delegates who were weak had their arms twisted. Those who were fearful were intimidated, and those who were corrupt were bribed to vote for Dr. Bawumia. And true-blooded MPP people, Alanche Martin, Muriel Peoku, Adenimo, Bakwe Jalpom, Jogate, and the rest. These are true-blooded MPP people who were left in the cold, and that leaves a bad taste in many people. But then the economic expectations have not been fulfilled.
That's Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng there in that interview with Kojo Yankson. It was aired on the Pulse. The full interview is available on all our social media platforms as well. Let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. I bet you've been listening to portions of that interview with Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. To start with, for him, the NPP he knew and loved is not the same as the NPP he's seeing now, let alone what is going to be on the ballot. For him, there's no rule of law. You don't believe in separation of powers. He talks about the issues about corruption. What's your immediate reaction? Hello, Mr. Mohammed.
Hello, Emefa.
I know you're on the campaign grounds, but I was asking for your initial reaction to concerns raised by Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng.
Thank you very much. Good evening to your cherished listeners. It's unfortunate I have not heard every bit of what he said because of the network challenge that I have here. But I heard that he's saying that the MPP is not the MPP that he knew. Mm-hmm. That there is absolutely disorder, rule of law is not.
It's fragmented. There's issues about corruption.
I completely disagree with him. The constitution of the New Patriotic Party is very clear. I don't know whether he's talking about government or he's talking about the party, but specifically he mentions the party, and that means that what he said is not the truth. Party has a constitution. The party gives mandates and chance to people to contest. People who have come out to contest have been given a fair play. Everybody that has come in, all the rules were made public. He did not come out to contest. I don't know the evidence that he's holding against the party in terms of disorder, in terms of constitutional places in the party's rule. The MPP is more stronger and more bigger than any other individual. We are not going to attack him as a person. we are going to respond in order of which he raised. And I'm telling you emphatically that the MPP remains the most powerful and the most party that believes in the rule of law. We have not broken any aspect of the party's constitution. The party is very resolute on the mind. He might be having issues with things that happens in government that he wants to talk about. But he should be very honest when he's talking about party and party rules. We are very firm and very confident that nothing untoward has happened or has gone that it is unconstitutional in this party. He should raise those issues and we debate them one after the other. We are not known to attack. We are not known to insult. We are not known to be dishonest. We are known to make sure that we put the right information out there. And that is on the basis of which we will talk. But we would not come and attack him. He should come on. Let's have that particular engagement on those aspects that he thinks that the party has gone against the party's constitution. I don't think it is factual. It is not accurate, and it is very unfortunate coming from him.
Well, he makes the argument about some disunity and fragmentation within the party. Also, the fact that the values that you used to believe in no longer there. Well, he takes on the flag bearer as well, questioning his emotional attachment to the party, he says.
First of all, what were the core values of the party? One, we believe in competition. Have we given competition to people or not? Two, we believe in leadership. Have we given leadership the opportunity to do whatever they want or not? Three, we believe in the rule of law. Have we given the opportunity to the party's constitution to work or not? Four, we believe in hierarchy. Have we been able to make sure that the hierarchy standards that we have put in have been able to work or not? Four, we believe in a religion. And we know very well that we have not insulted or attacked any religion in this country. We believe in property owning democracy. We continue to support businesses to strive. We continue to give opportunity through one district, one factory, one this, one that. We have been able to support a lot of industries in these particular areas. What core value, what specific core value have we broken? He's talking about emotional attachment to His Excellency the Vice President. This is the most honest, the most respected, the most diligent Vice President that we have had in this country. What at all has the Vice President done that he's so emotionally affected that he has to talk about it? Well, this is a man that believes in religious tolerance. This is a man that believes in the ability of people. This is a man that thinks on his feet. This is a man that thinks about solutions. So what at all is the emotional attachment he's talking about?
Well, he says that you hail him as the economic waste kid, but indeed he's failed to meet the economic expectations of many.
What expectations that does he expect? When the Vice President came in, together with His Excellency the President, what was the growth of the economy? The economy was growing at 3.4%. When he came in, before COVID, we grew at 8-something%. Even with the advent of COVID, when COVID came, globally, economies were growing in negatives. It is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as chairman of the Economic Management Team, we grew at 0.94%. Today, what is the trajectory? Even with the difficulties that we are going through, the economy is growing at 5-something%. So what economic indicators is it saying that he has not been able to achieve that we will doubt his economic credentials? Look at the goal for oil that he brought, the savings that it has brought to the good people of Ghana.
Savings?
That the economy sits in. Digitalization is a key to making sure that the foundation of the economy is kept true. He has been able to put all these things through. So I don't know if he has any personal thing against the Vice President. He should talk about it. But when it comes to public attachment to the Vice President and the flag bearer of our party, he is very resolute. He stays as the economic messiah. He is still the person that we're talking about. And I believe that he has the bold solutions for this country.
You believe he has personal issues against the flag bearer of your party?
Because issues that he's raising, he's talking generally. What key issue about the economy is he saying that he's a messiah and he's not able to do? What key thing? That's one thing.
The CD, for instance.
The CD, for instance. The CD. Look at what is happening to the dollar and the CD. Look at the performance of the economy. Look at how we use the gold for oil to hold the performance of the CD. the CD has always been a challenge to every economy. But Dr. Bawumia is thinking outside the box to ensure that we are able to stay through and make sure that this thing is done and done properly.
Okay.
So he has done his part when it comes to the forex aspect. He has done his part when it comes to the macroeconomic stability. He has done his part when it comes to the microeconomic stability. So he has done what he has to do. And I believe that if Ghana did not have Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the economy would have been worse as we have been worse than what was happening under John Mahama's regime.
Okay, we'll leave it here for now. That's Haruna Mohammed, is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, obviously on the campaign show. We'll hit the campaign show also shortly here on Newsnight, reacting to Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boate's interview on the polls with Kojo Yankson. Of course, details of that coming up. We have more of that interview, the full interview you can catch on all our social media platforms, also on the Joy News channel and myjoyonline.com. And we'll stay on the NPP a while longer because the chairman of the NPP's Council of Elders, in a scathing rebuke of Alan Chemating, labelled his comment about former President Kufuor's support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as disrespectful. On PM Express last night, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, discussing how the NPP will break the eight, did not hold back when reacting to the one-time presidential choice of former President Kufuor in 2007. Mr. Hackman says Alan Chemating's comment was simply rude.
What President Kufuor had done for Mr. Chemating, I don't think he's done it for anybody in this party. And what's important, and I don't think it is Chemating who sort of says 70% of what President Kufuor had to do came from him. Where was he? I can tell you, as foreign minister, he was my ambassador to Washington. And one of the biggest things we did was the HIPIC, if you remember HIPIC.
Yes.
Highly indebted poor countries. And when we're taking that decision, the people who were there was President Kufuor, J.H. Mensah, Osaf Mafu, and myself, and then Baroness Amos and Baroness Chalker from UK, and the British ambassador in the house. And that is when President Kufuor, and nobody else, it was President Kufuor who decided we shall take the HIPIC one, it will yield result. And it did yield result. And so if you sit in Washington and say that I gave him the idea, I can't see it. And so some of these things I can go on and on, because when I came from the UN, my commitment was to the party. I did nothing but the party. The constitution was written in my house. Our first manifesto was written in my house. My house was the meetings, and then every 2 weeks we went to Mr. Kreku's house for the meeting. I did nothing but work for the party without getting bought in. So if he had done this, and at that time, you see, for example, at that time I thought I had the capacity to be president. But now I don't have the capacity. You see, for me it's the height of impunity to ask what has Bawumia done, why you are supporting him. Well, because you heard him read this, and it was rude.
That's the NPP's Council of Elders, the chairman of the Council of Elders there, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, speaking to Evans Mensah on PM Express. We'll hear more from him, but let's take a quick reactions from the Movement for Change. And thankfully, the spokesperson for the Movement for Change, Courage Nobi, joins us on the line. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight, Mr. Nobi. So in hindsight and upon sober reflections, though, would you say that your candidate will have a change of mind or a change of thought in terms of his utterances after former President Kufuor spoke?
Much, Emefa, and good evening to the listeners. Honorable Chemating never would have a change of mind or a change of thought for speaking truth. Indeed, nobody worth his salt should have a change of mind or thought when he has spoken the truth. What is of importance to us of the Movement for Change is that when the Honorable Hackman asked and says that it is the height of impunity for Alan Chemating to ask what Alhaji Bawumia has done, it is saying that it is impunity for him to ask why pensioners today do not have access to their funds. It is impunity for him to ask why unemployment is 14.8%. It is impunity for him to ask why he has run away from managing the currency, and today our currency is junk. That it is impunity that many young people are being pushed into unbearable hardship due to unemployment, and so a question should not be asked of that. That certainly is unacceptable to us in the movement for change, to the teeming number of young people who are encouraged by the professional competence, the character and integrity of Alan Martin. And one of the things that he teaches us is that it is important to interrogate public officials, and so when they fail, it is important that they are interrogated and made to know that they have failed on their mandate. So for us, that is it.
But his public utterance, and of course his description in terms of his posturing and everything, in his description of former President John Agyekum Kufuor, a man that many say stood for him when no one else did, that is not impunity, you would say?
Certainly not. The question that he asks is his disappointment as to why the former president has put himself on the table of ridicule before the thousands of Ghanaians who are suffering due to all that I enumerated earlier, and for the former president to ask them to vote for the very person responsible for their suffering, which has made a lot of young people, particularly on social media, ridicule the former president. So all Martin's concern is that a towering figure of the nature of President Kufuor should not allow himself to be waded into such an arena where his reputation will be doused by the concerns, legitimate concerns of Ghanaians, particularly the unemployed, the pensioners who don't have access to their funds, investors who have lost their money, businesses which have closed down, and even many of our young ladies who are being pushed into extreme behaviors that we cannot mention on air as a result of the conduct, the incompetence of Alhaji Bawumia. That is why, and he cannot regret saying what is on the heartbeat of many Ghanaians, including myself.
He stands by the comments. Thank you so much. That's Courage Nobi there, a spokesperson for Movement for Change. Then their immediate reaction to the comments made by Mr. Hackman Owusu-Agyeman. Well, he's also criticized the opposition NDC for its combative stance against the electoral process. For him, the NDC stance exposes deep cracks in the nation's political institutions.
The posture of the major opposition party, the posture for me is all right, because it will seem as if that they assume that they have already won the elections and that if they don't win, then something has happened. Believe me, if you bring Jesus Christ from heavens to come and become the Electoral Commissioner, they will still complain. And these complaints, it's not helping anybody. And these threats and what have you, not helping nobody. And this has permeated the society to the extent that even at our legislative organization, i.e. in Parliament, things are not working the way we expect it to work. And they owe it to us in Parliament. The people, it's not their property. It's not the property of the Speaker. It's the property of the people of Ghana. And so they must listen to us and move on. But it's not, sometimes in my quiet moment, I feel like crying.
That's Hackman Owusu-Agyeman. He also mentions that despite the economic challenges, he's confident that Ghanaians will vote for the NPP.
Yes, people will have to look at their bottom, but bottom line, if this nation is moving forward, and indeed it is moving forward, then people must also recognize the fact that there are difficulties in a situation, in any human institution, in any human organization. There will be difficulties, there will be up and downs. It's not always a pedestrian which goes without a bit of a dip. And this is a little bit of a dip, but I believe that when you sum up the totality of everything, you will find that even if NPP.
I'll take brief comments, especially on the combative stance that he says. He describes the NDC's position when it comes to the electoral process. He says they've taken a deliberate combative stance against the Electoral Commission and the process, and that even if Jesus was made the Electoral Commissioner, they will still have concerns with him. Mustafa Gbande is a Deputy General Secretary. We'll take brief reactions from him. Thank you so much for joining us here on Newsnight, Mr. Gbande. So it does appear that it's a deliberate move by the NDC to actually intimidate the EC into giving in to whatever it is that the NDC wants. Is that the case?
Thank you very much, Emefa, and good evening to our cherished listeners. First of all, the NDC believes that in a democratic state, let the systems work. And if the systems work, it gives a plain level field for each and every political party to stand out in terms of what your campaign is. When the MPP was advocating for improved electoral system in 2016, they were not holding the system to ransom. They were not being combative. They were not being aggressive. They were not intimidating the Electoral Commission. It's because they believed that some processes must be enhanced, particularly when you are in opposition. It is believed that you, the one that is in opposition, should advocate for government to straighten the system. It's unfortunate that the senior man sees NDC's position to be an intimidation. Is it intimidation if the Electoral Commission, under their own watch, cannot protect their own machines? Is that the fault of the NDC? That tabulate figures, compound figures, and they are full of errors. Is it the NDC's strategy to intimidate that have influenced the Electoral Commission? That we do an assembly election and EC prints ballot papers that have shot first time in the history of our country? Is it a strategy to intimidate? For me, it's unfounded. And the NDC will still advocate for transparency and credibility of the election to be enhanced. We do not want the Electoral Commission to steal the election 2024 for us. And we will not also allow the Electoral Commission to do anything to aid this government. Look, the combined effect of the existence of this government is much, much more scandalous to the people of Ghana, and they have decided that we need a change. That change will only be validated by the fact that it is required that we go into an election. Now, Emefa, I listened to him, and I got unfounded that the individuals, when we were students, they are our role models, have ganged up around their age into government, and today have let the youth of this country down, have left all of us hopeless, have left the whole country in distress. And persons and individuals like Honorable Hackman should be worried that at his age and all the period of which he has participated in the governance of this country, this is what himself and President Akufo-Addo could offer the people of Ghana. It's much scandalous. He presided over Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board today have collapsed. Is he not worried? Is it not impunity for him to believe that his incompetence at the Cocoa Board is enough for him to be put into government again, and that the NDC doesn't have a right to advocate for same? I think that we should not give these people the allowance to make themselves high horses over us. And what we are talking about is a Ghanaian who is distressed, the Ghanaian who is hungry, the Ghanaian who is broke, the Ghanaian who have to cough high cost of living to survive. And so this is not a time to tolerate some of these talks. This is the time they should be begging the people of Ghana for the pain they have taken us through. As for leaving government, whether they like it or not, they will go.
Well, we'll leave it here. That's the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, there, and their immediate reaction to the concerns raised on the combative stance of the NDC when it comes to the electoral process and the Electoral Commission. And speaking of the Electoral Commission, they say they are set at the end of the week to dispatch biometric verification devices, BVDs, to 8 more regions ahead of the polls. Distribution of electoral materials, especially ballot papers, to northern Northern, Bono and Bono East regions have experienced some delay since the EC began distribution of the materials 2 weeks ago. Briefing the National Election Security Task Force at the Electoral Commission headquarters today on the EC's preparedness so far, EC Chairperson Jean Mensah has been providing timelines on when all outstanding matters will be resolved before the special voting on the 2nd of December.
We are also near completion with our ballots, the preparation of our ballots for the presidential and parliamentary elections. And all the ballots, with the exception of the Northern region, the Bono region, and the Bono East, have been disseminated to our police armories across the country. I'm well aware that the ballot papers for the Northern region, the Bono and Bono East regions will be disseminated to the police armories this afternoon. And we'd like to thank the police for their support and also the army for their support and remaining with us throughout this process. It's instructive to note that our biometric verification devices are also being prepared, and we are confident that by this weekend all the biometric verification devices will be safely lodged in the police armories across the country. As we speak, we have over 8 regions. The biometric verification devices have been sent to over 8 regional armories, and they are in safe keeping there. It's important to highlight that the Commission has recruited close to 210,000 temporary officials across various categories, from returning officers to deputy returning officers, presiding officers, polling assistants in all the 40,900 plus polling stations across the country. And as we speak, they are undergoing extensive training in all the constituencies.
Well, we can hear also from the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, who is leading the National Election Security Task Force. He says they are 95% ready for the polls.
And Chair, you have told us all the work that you have been doing. We are aware of it because we have been working each journey with you. And in terms of our preparation, for the benefit of the public and the generality of Ghanaians, we want to also assure them that, in fact, we are over ready as the security agencies in support of the excellent job that you are doing. And we'll do all what it takes, and I repeat, all what it takes to ensure that this country continues to be at peace with herself. And in our readiness, Madam Chair, we want to also say that we will protect every Ghanaian and we will protect every stakeholder in these elections. And more importantly, we will protect you and your staff as they go about their constitutional duty of ensuring that the election is executed to the benefit of Ghanaians. So that assurance we want to give to you and to your staff for them to feel free to undertake their assignment without any hindrance or without any fear, because we will have your back as security agencies. Madam Chair, also we are here today as a way of debriefing, as we have always done. We've done a lot of work when it came to the printing of the ballots and the transportation of the ballots across the country. And like you rightly indicated, we are 95% done, and with the BVDs, we are also almost 50% done. And looking at the timetable that we are working with, we are sure that within the shortest possible time, over the next couple of days, we'll be done with all this, and all these facilities and logistics will be in place at where it matters.
That's the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, also leading the National Election Task Force, and still on the elections and the Electoral Commission. We'll be talking about it shortly after business. They've moved in to limit the presence of journalists in constituency and regional coalition centres, asking its regional directors to provide names of credible media houses to be accredited. This is raising some concerns among media houses. We'll be interrogating that shortly, what exactly the criteria is in terms of which media house is credible for the EC before they can be part of the regional constituency and regional coalition exercise. But we'll get into it. But did you just turn 18 or are you a first-time voter? Then you can't miss the mock voting exercise to be hosted by your election headquarters to boost your electoral confidence ahead of the December 7 polls. Well, this will form part of our very final episode of your favorite show, Just Turned 18, with Shola Adeyemi, and it's happening live at the University University of Ghana campus. Well, the producer of tomorrow's program, Emmanuel Jivenu, is with me in the studios. Will tell us a bit more. Exactly what is the objective of this? Let's talk about it.
So for the past 6 months, we've been running the Just Turn 18 program, a series dedicated to preparing the first-time voters for this big day on December 7. And tomorrow we wrap it all up with something exciting, a live voting simulation at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana. We will have about 100 first-time voters go through the voting process, right from verifying their names in the register. They cast their ballots. The ballots are sorted out and the results declared. Personnel from the Electoral Commission will be present to guide these first-time voters through the process, address any questions they have, and help them avoid any costly mistakes on December 7. So why not join us tomorrow at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana for this exciting program?
And it's at 10 a.m. So any of us, we just turned 18, first-time voter, we can just pass through and be part of it.
Yes, all in a bid to reducing the mistakes some of us do
rejected
on the election
ballots.
day.
We want to avoid that. Okay. Well, Emmanuel Jivenu, thank you so much for joining us. As the producer of Just Turned 18 with Shola Adeyemi. You want to join the team at 10 a.m. at the Political Science Department, University of Ghana. It will definitely be live on all major bulletins throughout the day. Also on the Joy News channel. You can't miss Just Turned 18. George, have you voted before?
Of
you are
course,
not a first-time voter. Okay, so you know what
but I just turned 18, so I'll be going there to do cast my vote.
Just turned 18, yet you voted before. I'm going to call the police. Well, what's in business, George?
Well, Emefa coming up. Sonia Seguli charges the Logistic Company of Ghana to stick to new terms for settling more than $200 million debt, as well as the cash waterfall mechanism. And Development Bank Ghana partners the Association of Ghana Industries to revive Ghana's textiles and garments industry. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MDN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Interstanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Ah, really? How is that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too. But I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls and...
Well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games and read the latest sports news.
For real?
Yeah, and I can send and receive money from the app. Amazing, no?
What's the name of this app?
It's called Ayoba.
Ayoba?
Yeah, Ayoba.
Get Ayoba, your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN and download the Ayoba app today. Everywhere you go.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is organizing its end-of-year furniture promotional sales from the 15th of November to the 31st of December this year. Kingdom Books and Stationery is giving away a whopping 10 to 15% discount on all furniture at our furniture shops. Head office, Akweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema, Comte 4, Takrady, opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast, University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic, Centerpoint Mall, Winneba, University Campus, KNUSD, the University Bookshop, Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit and shop online at www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764101 or email us at info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Businesses know how important it is to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is licensed to provide medical insurance services to corporate organizations and SMEs. We also have international LH Blue cover and TPAs to cushion you. Multinational companies, factories, and government agencies, focus on your business while Apex Insurance takes care of your health. Visit Apex Health Insurance office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, Kumasi opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and Takrady Market Circle. For further inquiries, call 0501 562 962 or 0501 552 495. Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
From the classroom to the lab, from the village to the city, the NPP's commitment to education is building a brighter Ghana. Free SHS isn't just about free tuition, it's an investment in Ghana's future. We have topped it up with free TVET and STEM education, skilled graduates, innovative thinkers, and a thriving economy. That's the promise of free SHS.
3 of my cousins have benefited from free SHS since 2017. One has graduated and is in nursing training. The other 2 are also in the university. I'll vote number 1. I'll vote for Baumia on December 7th.
We are building a better tomorrow through education. Vote NPP. Vote number 1. Vote Baumia. Baumia means business. Esro.
The presidential and parliamentary elections 2024.
As part of Elections 2024, the Electoral Commission will conduct a special voting exercise for security officers, media personnel, and election officials who have applied and are on the special voters register and have duties to perform on election day. The special voting exercise will take place at designated centers in all 276 constituencies across the country on Monday, 2nd December 2024, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Please note that all these activities will be conducted in the presence of political party agents, domestic and international observers. For further information on the special voting exercise, visit the EC website or the EC office in your district.
Presidential parliamentary elections 2024. Your vote is your future.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the car prizes are in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, independent power producer Sonia Sogli is asking the Electricity Company of Ghana to stick to the new terms agreed in clearing their debts. Now, it's coming after the power producer resumed operations following the release of some emergency funds by government. More in this report.
Joy Business understands that this new terms will ensure that the Electricity Company of Ghana sticks to paying Sunon Asogli its portion of revenue that it collects from consumers. This, they say, may go a long way in reducing the debt owed, while government through the Ministry of Finance also work to clear the remaining debt. According to the Finance Ministry, it is working to soon sign an agreement with Sunon Asogli when it comes to how to restructure the remaining debt owed the company. Sunon Asogli in a statement also added that it remains committed to working with government to deal with challenges facing the power sector as well as sticking to the terms of the agreement reached.
And that is a business desk report. Let's still stay on this subject because Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam had earlier expressed government's commitment to fully implement the cash waterfall mechanism.
We won't compromise any action that would drill the operationalization of the cash waterfall mechanism. So I insist all collections made by ECG must go to the cash waterfall waterfall system to be redistributed to all stakeholders in the value chain. This is very important for us because people have lost confidence in our ability to manage the energy sector because of the financial issues. So let's use this opportunity to rebuild that confidence, not just in our partners, but also the investor community. We are not going to get that investment into this sector if we just cannot guarantee that we will pay for those resources that will be invested in this sector. And the only way is to show that we have a systematic, comprehensive approach to addressing the financial issues. And that is why the cash waterfall mechanism is so central to the future of the energy sector.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. Now, Development Bank Ghana has partnered with the Association of Ghana Industries to revive the textiles and garment industry. Now, this has resulted in the sign of a memorandum of understanding to aid this deal. The agreement aims at strengthening the textiles and garment industry by supporting local businesses to scale production whilst creating jobs. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Chief Executive of Development Bank Ghana, Kwame Duka, said together with its partners, they will invest at least 100 million Ghana cedis over the next 3 years to support the sector.
Is becoming an increasingly important institution in the development and transformation of our economy. But to do that, we have to work in trustful relationships with our partner financial institutions, the banks, both universal and regional, and also SNLs, etc. So what's next for us? Clearly, we need to do more. It's as simple as that. We act as a catalyst, but there's so many areas, including this, that we spoke about. You're going to see more targeted in terms of particular sectors of the industry. You're going to see a much bigger focus in terms of women-led businesses, as we mentioned, or women-owned businesses. We're going to do more in that respect.
On his part, President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Ayim Dake, talked about how this could help deal with the challenges facing the local textiles companies.
AGI assisting with DBG to select companies in this value chain, both medium size, small scale, and large, and see for purpose of pilots. We might not open up to do everybody. We touch base on the ones that we believe have the orientation and the understanding to partner this particular project. So we select them and do a due diligence and hold hand and prepare them with their books so that with DBG's collaboration, we can prepare them for the PFIs and DBG guarantee to support them to retool, to bring in raw materials.
President of the Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Ayim Dake. Now, the Bank of Ghana is rejecting argument the temporary withdrawal of Consolidated Bank's foreign exchange trading license could cripple the institution. On the Bank of Ghana, Consolidated Bank, who from today to December 26 not been able to participate in foreign exchange market as a result of this regulatory action. Now, this because it is argued that this is the peak season for remittance business. But the Bank of Ghana insists it was meant to serve as a deterrent to other financial institutions. They won't break the exchange rules and regulations for that sector. Meanwhile, financial lecturer, that is Dr. Elikpuna, that is your fears that the action would impact on the bank's operations badly.
Because the implication of suspending their license is not just on the bank, right? It can actually affect the customers of the bank. What this means is that if you're a customer of the bank, you are expecting remittance inflows, you want to do a foreign transfer, etc., you cannot do this. And I don't think that the customers of CBG should be punished for the actions or inactions of the bank. It's going to affect their operations because they can't transact in the FX market, they can't send funds abroad, they can't receive funds abroad, both for their proprietary accounts and also for the accounts of their customers. So I think that is going to have a huge impact on CBG. We are expecting more remittances towards December. When I get into Christmas, those abroad will be sending money to their relatives back home.
And that is the finance lecturer, Professor Elikpili Magloyo, talking about the Bank of Ghana sanction of Consolidated Bank Ghana. They've not been able to participate in the foreign exchange business because their license has been withdrawn from now to December 26. Now, the First Sky Group has appointed Dr. Sylvanus Elom Agbemegati as its life patron to support its work of the group in diverse ways. The promotion appointment, according to the executive chairman, Eric Kojo, is a commendation and retirement service in honor of Dr. Elom, who happened in Tema here in the region.
continue to pray for them, continue to receive the awards from First Sky and their support with much gratitude to the Lord. And I've always been here for them, and I'll continue to be there for them, continue to advise them, continue to pray for them, continue to teach them the word of God, continue to be there always for them.
And that is Dr. Sylvanus Elom Amegachi there talking about the award and appointment of him as the life patron of the First Sky Group over there. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you. It's time for Sports, and my friend is here.
Let's go straight into the stories. And the Black Stars head coach Otuado is set to meet with the GFA Executive Committee tomorrow after the AFCON disappointment. Ghana failed to qualify for the AFCON for the first time in 20 years, finishing bottom of their qualifying group without a single win. Otuado is expected to submit his technical report for the qualifying series for a thorough review, with the GFA expected to make a decision on his future in the coming days. Meanwhile, the GFA has announced the postponement of its meeting with stakeholders initially scheduled for Thursday. Following consultations with key partners and stakeholders, the FAC became imperative to reschedule the Ghana football retreat to a later date to ensure full and meaningful participation. A new date for the retreat will be announced in due course. In the Champions League, the group stages enters match day 5 today, and our featured commentary game on Hits FM is between Barcelona and Stade Brestois. That's all for sports. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, Danny Cranting. Let's do some of your messages that you've sent in via WhatsApp. Musa Batwani Aswasi says recalling MPs now is pointless as the NPP has shown bad faith by avoiding government business. With MPs busy campaigning, forming a quorum will be nearly impossible, making this move a needless distraction. He asked the hashtag Newsnight. Samuel says it is interesting when the NPP talks about good economic growth before COVID-19. The high growth was predicted by economists, including bodies like the IMF. This was due to the hard work done in fixing the fundamentals, such as stable power supply by the John Mahama administration. That's Samuel's message. Charles in Legon says, would Mr. Hackman or Uswajiman have kept quiet if Mr. Rawlings had filled the EC with known party members? They are elderly, so they should, they can't condemn what is happening. Okay, so that's Charles in Legon. Your message. Nana Spintek says, is a marking going back to the Supreme Court to get the judges to open parliaments for them? He has himself to blame for where things are currently. They could have done their business regardless of being labelled minority. And this one from Manfred in Tetegu says, what Mr. Frimpong Wating has said is true. However, they will dispute his views. These guys are seriously intolerant. That's some of your comments that you sent in. I'll hit back the campaign show shortly, but tonight researchers reveal a sharp rise in asthma cases among children between 12 and 14, partly attributed to rapid urbanization and high pollution levels in schools, many of which remain unpaved and dusty. A study conducted in Kumasi found that pollution levels were slightly lower at home and during commutes compared to schools. Dr. Sandra Kwating Ogusu from the Department of Child Health at KNUST shared the research, revealed 16% of sample children tested positive for asthma. She's been speaking at the Joy News Clean Air Dialogue, organized in collaboration with the Clean Air Fund and Breathe Cities.
From my background as a respiratory physician, I think increasingly we've been worried about the rising levels of respiratory conditions. I see children with asthma, and we've just released a paper in the Lancet Adolescent Health, a multi-center study, which is showing that for adolescents 12 to 14 years, 16% of them that we screened in Kumasi actually reported asthma symptoms. That's massive because in the last 20 years, we were around 5%. So if we've climbed up to 16%, that is concerning. And we know that children are very vulnerable. And we've educated, so the schools that were involved in our asthma studies, what was also interesting is that when we gave air pollution monitors to the children and we monitored their sources of pollution, for the school that had the highest number of adolescents with asthma, they also had very high levels of pollution. So we could relate. So what we saw is that some of the public schools, for instance, do open burning. When the school children are on the compound, we educated the teachers that if they can liaise with the local authorities, Because you would see that in a community, the whole refuse dump is just next door to the school. Can they avoid burning?
Well, that's Sandra Kwatingo, who's a doctor from the Department of Child Health at KNUST, sharing those research findings that reveal that 16% of sample children tested positive for asthma. You need to be careful of the pollution levels in the environment. Very, very important. And that's what we highlighted at the Joy News Clean Air Dialogue to check on what the political parties have for us when it comes to protecting the environment. Now, let's hit the trail and hear from the candidates. We'll start off from the Western region, where the NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama has dismissed what he describes as NPP propaganda, assuring new recruit of the Ghana Police Service that they will not be dismissed if he's elected in December. Maxwell Agbagba joins us on the line. Maxwell, what more can you report?
Well, the NDC presidential candidate has been visiting quite a number of constituencies here in the Western region. He just left the Lembele constituency and just arrived here in the Jomoro constituency, where he will be addressing party faithfuls who've gathered here shortly. But in the Lembele constituency, he did not mince words at all when he responded to President Akufo-Addo's claims that he cannot sustain the 24-hour economy with a Dumso legacy. The NDC presidential candidate, John Mahama, took no prisoners at all. He says the president should bear true testimony that Dumso had been solved when he handed over power to him. He added some quite very strong words that liars will not go to heaven, and urged the president to focus on preparing his soul for heaven by refraining from telling lies. And a lot of the supporters who had gathered there, cheered him on. He also responded to the NPP's claims that when he comes, if he comes, he's going to cancel the free SHS policy, reiterating his stance that the NDC will never cancel the free senior high school policy, but will rather make it better. Okay. In the Lembele constituency as well, he reiterated his stance about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah being the sole founder of Ghana. Went on for about 5 minutes to make that point, clearly. And he says if NDC is elected into power, they would make sure that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's legacy is protected. Okay, that's my colleague Maxwell Agbagba there giving us update of the NDC presidential candidates tour of the Western region. Here in the Greater Accra region, the NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been busy. He's pledged his commitment to completing the Agenda 111 hospital project within his first year in office if he wins the 2024 elections. He's been speaking during a campaign rally at Abosokai in the Ablekuma Central constituency. We also know that he was earlier in Nsaoma Dwejuri constituency. Kenneth JC is with the team. Will give us a wrap of events for today. What's been happening in the camp of the NPP? You'd say, Ken.
The campaign began today at around 8 a.m. It began from the Malamata market in the Ayawaso Central constituency, where the NPP flag bearer and Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia went on a meet and greet tour of the market, and simply to woo the female voters in these markets. And then from there, he headed to Nsawam at Wajiri, where he went to the Hebron prayer center, where he asked for prayers from the congregants and told them that only God can make him a president, and also urged them to vote for him to continue with the legacies of the NPP, like the free senior high school and the yet to be rolled out free dialysis for all kidney patients. And then he went to the Abosokai, which you mentioned, met with the spare parts dealers, told them that he's going to introduce the flat tax rate for them so that it eases the burden of the financial cost they always have to carry. And then it wrapped up at Circle by meeting commercial drivers and also telling them about the electric vehicles that are yet, to arrive, that have already arrived in this country, and he is yet to outdoor it to ensure fuel efficiency and also minimize the cost of buying fuel-powered buses. So it's been a very long day, but it's coming to an end, and it's going to continue tomorrow. And then on Thursday also, it's in the Ashanti region.
Okay, that's my colleague Kenneth Jesse there giving us update on the NPP presidential candidate and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on the campaign trail, ending today's edition of Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. Up next, the geeks are ready. Edwia, what are you doing today?
We'll continue our conversation that we started last week, evaluating the political promises that have been made on digitalization. The conversation really went well, and we would like to go in deeper this week. Yeah.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We're glued to our radio sets, also on social media. You can't miss the Geek Squad. I am Emefa Apawu. Have a good evening.